Egypt is a country in northeast Africa. Its capital city is Cairo. Egypt is famous for its ancient monuments such as the pyramids and the Sphinx. The history of ancient Egypt spans the period from the early prehistoric settlements of the northern Nile Valley to the Roman conquest in 30 BC. The Pharaonic period is dated from the 32nd century BC, when Upper and Lower Egypt were unified, until the country fell under Macedonian rule in 332 BC. The pyramids were built as burial places and monuments to the pharaohs. As part of their religion, the Egyptians believed that the pharaoh needed certain things to succeed in the afterlife. Deep inside the pyramid, the pharaoh would be buried with all sorts of items and treasure that he may need to survive in the afterlife. Types of pyramids. Some of the earlier pyramids, called step pyramids, have large ledges every so often that look like giant steps. Archaeologists think that the steps were built as stairways for the pharaoh to use to climb to the sun god. Later pyramids have more sloping and flat sides. These pyramids represent a mount that emerged at the beginning of time. The sun god stood on the mount and created the other gods and goddesses. How big were the pyramids? There are around 138 Egyptian pyramids. Some of them are huge. The largest is the Pyramid of Khufu, also called the Great Pyramid of Giza. When it was first built, it was over 480 feet tall. It was the tallest man-made structure for over 3,800 years and is one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's estimated that this pyramid was made from 2.3 million blocks of rock weighing 5.9 million tons. How did they build them? How the pyramids were built has been a mystery that archaeologists have been trying to solve for many years. It is believed that thousands of slaves were used to cut up the large blocks and then slowly move them up the pyramid on ramps. The pyramid would get slowly built, one block at a time. Scientists estimate it took at least 20,000 workers over 23 years to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. Because it took so long to build them, pharaohs generally started the construction of their pyramids as soon as they became ruler. What's inside the pyramids? Deep inside the pyramids lays the pharaoh's burial chamber, which would be filled with treasure and items for the pharaoh to use in the afterlife. The walls were often covered with carvings and paintings. Near the pharaoh's chamber would be other rooms where family members and servants were buried. There were often small rooms that acted as temples and larger rooms for storage. Narrow passageways led to outside. Sometimes fake burial chambers or passages would be used to try and trick grave robbers. Because there was such valuable treasure buried within the pyramid, grave robbers would try to break in and steal the treasure. Despite the Egyptians' efforts, nearly all of the pyramids were robbed of the treasures by 1000 C. Fun facts about the Great Pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza points very precisely to the north. The pyramids of Egypt are all built to the west of the Nile River. This is because the western side was associated with the land of the dead. The base of a pyramid was always a perfect square. They were built mostly of limestone. There were traps and curses put on the tombs and the pyramids to try and keep robbers out. Sphinx. What is a sphinx? A sphinx, or sphinx, is a creature with the body of a lion and the head of a human, with some variations. It is a prominent mythological figure in Egyptian, Asian, and Greek mythology. In ancient Egypt, the Sphinx was a spiritual guardian and most often depicted as a male with a pharaoh headdress, as is the Great Sphinx. Hand figures of the creatures were often included in tomb and temple complexes. For instance, the so-called Sphinx Alley in Upper Egypt is a 2-mile avenue that connects the temples of Luxor and Karnak and is lined with Sphinx statues. Sphinxes with the likeness of the female pharaoh Hatshepsut also exist, such as the granite Sphinx statue at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York and the large alabaster Sphinx at the Ramessid Temple in Memphis, Egypt. From Egypt, the Sphinx imported to both Asia and Greece around 15th to 16th century B.C. Compared with the Egyptian model, the Asian Sphinx had eagle wings, was frequently female, and often sat on its haunches with one paw raised in depictions. In Greek traditions, the Sphinx also had wings, as well as the tail of a serpent. In legends, it devours all travelers unable to answer its riddle. Great Sphinx of Giza, colossal limestone statue of a recumbent sphinx located in Giza, Egypt, that likely dates from the reign of King Khafre, c. 2575 c. 2465 BCE, and depicts his face. It is one of Egypt's most famous landmarks and is arguably the best-known example of Sphinx art. The Great Sphinx is among the world's largest sculptures, measuring some 240 feet 73 meters long and 66 feet 20 meters high. It features a lion's body and a human head adorned with a royal headdress. The statue was carved from a single piece of limestone, and pigment residue suggests that the entire Great Sphinx was painted. According to some estimates, it would have taken about 3 years for 100 workers, using stone hammers and copper chisels, to finish the statue.